as always, bringing you the latest Nintendo news. And today we got 3 pretty big ass stories, so we're gonna get straight into them, including a new Nintendo Direct looms on the horizon. Nintendo's talking to more developers about bringing its IP to us, but which games will they be? And the brand new Mario game, which is awaiting the Switch 2, promises to be a big ass affair. We're gonna get into all of those stories, but before we do, as always, if you like the content, you like what you see, why not consider hitting that like, subscribing, that bell, helps us out, and then pull up a chair right there and sit with us as we do indeed delve into today's first story, which is a new Nintendo Direct promises to be landing this February. That is via Jeff Grubb, who spoke about it on his Giant Bomb podcast. Yes, indeed. In fact, he came out and said you can always count on a Nintendo Direct in February. And he's right. Since the days of Jesus, or at least 2017, if there's one thing you can count on, is a Nintendo Direct in February. But what in the blue hell will be shown? Because as we know, the Switch is of course winding down. We only know of 3 Nintendo IP that's releasing this year. Those are Princess Peach, Luigi's Mansion 2, and of course Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door. But beyond that, what the hell do Nintendo have in store? Not much, but we can speculate. That's what we're gonna do right now. So the first question is, usual suspects, will Metroid Prime 4 make an appearance? No, don't be silly, because the first time we're going to see Metroid Prime 4, it's not on the Switch, it's going to be on the Switch 2, so get that idea out of your head right now. Secondly, will this finally be the year that we get to see the Zelda Classic HD remasters, Twilight Princess and The Wind Waker? Will they finally grace the Switch in a year where there is very little software from Nintendo? Will they use these 2 classics to fill in those gaps? I will not be holding my breath. I don't know what Nintendo is waiting for, but they had a long time to release them already. They didn't. They had a long time after Breath of the Wild. They didn't. We now know there is no DLC for Tears of the Kingdom, and they are yet to announce their release on the Switch. So I don't know what Nintendo is waiting for, especially as those 2 games are far superior to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom anyways. Shut your faces. That is the truth, and I've said it. Right, let's move forward. What games could actually show up though? Well, recently there's been heavy rumors of the Xbox exclusive Hi-Fi Rush coming over to the Switch. In fact, it's very recently been rated in an Australian board. So I would speculate, I might even predict that that game shows up on a Direct. Some of you might point towards something like Hollow Knight Silk Song. I'm sorry to say, I predict that game will definitely not show up again, and we're gonna have to wait even longer for a date for that game. But a game that I do think will make an appearance, and it's one that I'm very much looking forward to, is Kingdom Come Deliverance. Yes, the 15th century brutal RPG game, very highly rated. Go check it out if you don't know anything about it. Was shown by the developers pretty recently and was said to be released in the early part of 2024. So they could be shown around the time of the Nintendo Direct. I predict it will be shown, in fact, and it even will be dated. Could even be a game that is shadow dropped after the presentation. We will have to wait and see. So other than that, I don't expect there to be a lot. I think it will be a quiet affair, disappointing Direct, if you will. But what do you think? Let me know in the chat. Do you think there will be a Nintendo Direct this February? And what do you anticipate will be shown? What would you like there to be shown? Let me know in the chat. Right, next up. Nintendo is said to be in talks with developers about the possibility of outsourcing more of its IPs in order to bring more of its games over to us, the gamers. That is the statement, the claim made by respected journalist Chris String over on gamingindustry.biz. This, of course, is not new. Nintendo has worked with plenty of developers in the past to bring its IP over to us. They worked with, of course, Platinum Games on the Wii U to bring over Star Fox, Mercury Steam to bring over Metroid Dread. They also worked with Sega back in the GameCube days to bring over an F-Zero game. So this is not new to them, but which games are they looking to release in the future, and which developers are they talking to? Let's have a quick look to see what Christopher Dring said in his article. He says, I also know that Nintendo is actively meeting with independent developers to find new partners. Some of that is around publishing indie games, which Nintendo does from time to time, but it's also seeking studios that could work on some of its IP. Nintendo regularly works with third-party teams including Bandai Namco, Team Ninja, Platinum Games, Mercury Steam, WayForward, and Grezzo. But the company is looking to add to that roster, and I know of three that are deep in, three studios that is, that are deep in conversation around making games based on Nintendo brands. So, very interesting indeed, but we did not learn which developers Nintendo are talking to and what games they might be thinking at releasing in the future, which leaves us to speculate, which is what we're going to do, because I can think of at least a few games Nintendo should be thinking about releasing in the future. First of which is Wave Race, a game first seen on the N64, very competitive, very well received, beautiful game with amazing water physics. This is a game that was very well received, very well loved by Nintendo fans, and is a game that we saw last on the GameCube 20 or so years ago, maybe more. It's a game that deserves a comeback. Of course, we can play it on the N64 online on the Switch, but we want a brand new game in the series. Second of all, F-Zero. Of course, we have been begging for this game since 2004 on the GameCube, since Sega did an amazing job with it. We did have a little taster with F-Zero 99, which is an awesome little gem of a game, but we want a brand new game in the series. And a personal game that I would love, either a remake or a remaster or a sequel, would be Eternal Darkness, the game made by Silicon Knights, which was an awesome psychological horror game which messed with your mind, very creepy, very awesome. That is a game I would love for someone please to release in the future. I think Nintendo a few years back did renew the trademark. Maybe they're thinking of something, I don't know. But let me know in the chat, in the comments, which games you would like, which abandoned IPs you would like Nintendo to resurrect in the future. Resurrect? I said that. Resurrect. Bring back to life, if you will. Bring me back to life. Let me know in the comments below. Right, last story of the day. Prolific leaker Zippo is back. Yes, love him or hate him, trust him or don't, get that pinch of salt ready, because he is back spreading more rumors about what he has supposedly heard on the next Super Mario game, which he says, of course, will be unleashed on the Switch 2, probably as a launch title. That's my guess. But what does he say about the game? Well, he says principally that the game will be 4 times bigger than Mario Odyssey released in 2017. 4 times bigger. And that it will be Mario's first fully open world game. So very interesting stuff indeed, if true. He didn't mention much else. He didn't mention anything really about the gameplay or the story or anything. He did mention the characters involved, namely the obvious Luigi, Donkey Kong, Peach, Toad. He didn't mention whether they are playable or whether they're just included in the story somehow. We shall wait and see. He did, however, mention this. He mentioned that the game is finished and that it has been for a while, and that Nintendo is just sitting on it, waiting to unleash it to us, probably, as I guessed earlier, as a launch title on the Switch 2. So very exciting. If it is true, I could do with a Super Mario open world game. I actually wasn't a big fan of Odyssey, I'll be honest. I thought it had a lot of amazing ideas, but I wasn't a big fan. What I am kind of worried about, and what I want to hear from you guys in the chat, is that if you cast your minds back to when Nintendo re-released Mario 3D World, and with it Bowser's Fury, when I played Bowser's Fury, I wasn't that enamored with it. I was not a big fan of it, and I'll tell you why. I didn't like the gameplay loop, but I took that possibly to be a blueprint for the next Mario game, which would be hitting now the Switch 2. I wondered to myself, is this Bowser's Fury Nintendo's way of testing it with the gamers to see if we enjoy it? And I did not. If you remember, if you cast your minds back, it was that whole thing where Bowser was in the background growing and growing, and he would interrupt you every so often, most of the time annoyingly, where you're close to getting a shine, or you're working on a puzzle, or where you're just platforming around the level, and he would interrupt you and you would be forced to battle him in this kind of Godzilla type battle, but not very interesting one. That does kind of worry me a little bit. I don't know what you guys in the chat think. I am hoping it's less of that and just much more of roaming around, I'm interrupted, letting me explore as I wish, collecting collectibles and whatever else is included in that game. I am pumped to see it. I don't doubt that it will be on the Switch 2 as a launch title. That was, that seems the logical way for Nintendo to go with it. But let me know, short story to today, but let me know what you think. Are you happy? Do you want a open world game? Do you want it to be, the bigger the better? Or do you want a more constrained experience like Mario Odyssey? Let me know in the chat. We'll obviously get more about this in the future, and when we do, you will be the first to hear it here. That is the video for today though, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be back tomorrow with even more Nintendo news. You know it's true. Catch you all later. Take care, my good friends. Bye.